Shame. 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 Shame.
What's going on, people? Shame TV East Watch. What up, my nigga Wizax? Shame TV East Watch. We're in the building right now. It's Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday. Triple C's. Tulsa Fair. What's going on? This is going to be a clear up video as well as sharing some information, seeing where we go from there. So what's up? Also, tonight we're gonna be here for a while, guys, because I also want to get into the second half of the show or stream or whatever. I filthy Frizz Inc. The second half of the stream, we're going to get into Yvette CARNELL and her thorough thrashing of Claude Anderson and BOYCE WATKINS' whole premise. Well, really, Claude Anderson was making a lot of good points, but it's like they're all oxymoronic in nature. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's no different. Hold on. It's no different than Sonetta and them when they come up here and run their mouth about certain shit. It's like, okay, like nigga, you can't say you here for black people and then every time you get your talk about economics and how we need to spend with each other, even though that ain't gonna solve the problem, but it's a good start. But anyway, how we need to spend with each other and do this, that, and the third with each other, but then turn around as soon as you get money, you turn how white people become all cool and great to spend money with, and you spending money with them, and all your money seems to go back to the Mercedes-Benz dealers and all that shit like that. Now, I don't mind that you do that if that's not what you talking, but if you one of them niggas running around talking that shit all the time, and then as soon as you get a little bit of change, the very first thing you do is go run back to a Mercedes-Benz dealership or to some European dealer and spend money and all this shit. It's oxymoronic, man. It's like you're a walking oxymoron. So anyway, if you guys haven't noticed, not only are Sonetta on the radar with this award show, um, getting closer and closer to time to see this debacle in real time. But we have other issues and matters that are pressing. Now, I heard about Tariq Nasheed. I just heard about that. Tariq, I guess I'm gonna have to get into that too to see what's going on. Oh man, last man standing shit, man. It never ends. So anyway, Marshall. Before I continue, is the title of this video. Is basically me saying what I'm gonna say. Marshall. Before I continue, I'm just saying there's shady stuff around you and donations, dates, etc. Now, I'm not before we even start down this road, I'm going to first say this is fair use. I am not the originator of this audio, any of this audio. This audio was public. I actually got it from YouTube. That's how public it is. So I'm using this audio simply for critique purposes on my little YouTube platform talk show. Or whatever you want to call it. Talk group, whatever. Sometimes we use satire here, but we're not going to do that tonight. So this audio is not of my creation. This audio is just something that I am using under the Fair Use Act, which means I have a right to take public information and use it for critique purposes and entertainment purposes if I so choose to. Okay? And this video is not monetized. So there you go. My page is not monetized. And I meet the YouTube requirements of subscribers, viewerships, and the whole nine too. Monetize it. It will be eventually. But right now it isn't. So I'm not doing this for that purpose or those purposes. So we're gonna go and get into it. Now, it's come across our attention that Marshall has been out here slowly but slowly changing and revealing his true nature. Now, whether it's his true nature or not, this is all opinion. But it's all starting to seem eerily like polite. When you come out, you look dusty and tore up and speaking for the people and all of this stuff. So what happens? People get behind you, they support you. After they support you a little bit, you change up, you start to look a little cleaner and things of that nature, which you should. And yes, I did say, which you should look cleaner and fresher and the whole nine. So, anyways, just like polite, it starts to seem that it's starting to seem that you're moving in a direction towards celebrityism, or towards fame. I'm powerful on YouTube now. I have a certain number of subscribers, which Corey Holcomb told us you can't get paid for those. So I don't know why people are. Well, I guess you can in a sense, because if you have at least 1,000 on subscribers on YouTube, then you have a business, or you in partnership with YouTube. You work for Google AdSense, so to speak. Especially those individuals who do that exclusively. They work for Google. But you gain notoriety, popularity, people are behind you, and now it's starting to seem that you're moving towards a direction that's not the one that you said that you were going to move towards. Now, that's kind of the point of where I'm coming from, man, with all this shady stuff I'm saying around that it's coming around you. So before I do another video about you, before I say anything about you, I'm going to let you know, before I continue, I'm just saying that there is a lot of shady stuff going on around you with these donations and the dates, etc. It's not even pointing the fact that you're actually asking people for money and shit like that is to handle your day-to-day. Now, I'm not going to relinquish my stance on that. I think that, first off, breeds of laziness. Like, I think that breeds, that gives you a sense of entitlement that's going to make you arrogant and make you feel like you can create YouTube syndicates. You know what I'm saying? And hashtag don't flag me. You know what I'm saying? Flagging people who don't say with the things that are agreeable to you in your position. I seen a stream, one of the last streams I've actually watched of you, when you were talking about how you were sipping on niggas who were smaller pages than yours. But every week I get in my groups and shit is clips of you in my group. I told you I don't seek you out. You can check YouTube's logs or however the fuck you want to go check it. I don't go to your page seeking you out. This shit just comes right across me. And I listen to it because I'm like everyone else. I'm listening to it. It's right there in the same groups I'm in. So when I hear somebody tell people shit like, I'm a sip on you niggas, but every single thing that's said, you respond to. Whether it be a video I made or somebody else made, every single thing that's said, you respond to it. That's number one. I thought you was sipping on niggas. If you doing that, a nigga who's sipping on niggas shouldn't have nothing to worry about. But that doesn't mean you did anything just because you shouldn't have anything to worry about and you listen. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to walk you down somewhere, some street somewhere that leads to this nigga ultimately always being guilty or a fuck nigga or a scam artist. I'm just gonna say the shit for what it is. Like I said about the corner store guy. I'm pretty sure he's made like 5, 6 videos about me. I swear on my kids, I haven't seen them. And the people who are around me don't even really watch him, so they're not even sharing them when he's making them. So who cares? No one cares. That's what it means to sip on a nigga. I'm sipping on that nigga. Fuck out of here. I'm sipping Gatorade right now. I'm sipping the Gatorade.
Shame.
Not
Shame.
nothing else right now.
Shame.
But that's what that means. So it's like every little thing that's said about you, you answer it. That's a red flag. Because a lot of this shit, if it's bullshit, then it don't even require no response. I'm just saying. Now, the thing about the people older than you being wicked and being responsible for what you do and all your ills is laughable, because everyone of every generation that had a hardship could immediately turn to the next generation and say, oh, this is their fault. You need to look at them. They the one who doing this shit. They the one who causing all this shit. Not me, though you're the one doing it. I have a hard time overlooking somebody telling people he's going to get money for a wrongful conviction when most of the stuff that they got you on was stuff allegedly that you really actually did. Like, you know, you was out there doing that shit. It's like if somebody pull you in for, it's like, nah, you ain't get me on this particular person that I shot in the leg, but I done shot 22 people in the leg. Type shit. That's kind of like what it is. So it's like, my nigga, you still was like, why would you even come ask people who work hard every day to donate money to you for that purpose? Get your own self out of that shit. Second, not second, but another thing. I heard the other night on a stream, this nigga, a clip, somebody, I guess it was a live stream that you did, and you calling Dolo the Moor, look at this broke ass nigga in front of a store. That one I got a whole special video for. Because I don't understand how somebody who begs people, who sets up GoFundMes for their day-to-day, for their whole life is basically a donation. Meaning you a bum unless these people donate money to you. So a person whose life is a whole setup as a donation, how you gonna call another nigga a bum? Now this is the only reason I'm saying this, Marshal. I'm gonna let you know why I'm saying this. I ain't never seen Dolo with 11 GoFundMes. I ain't never seen Dolo put up a GoFundMe for a children's museum and then take the money because he had tax problems or whatever the cases may be. I seen Dolo, because I watched Dolo. I've been knew who Dolo was. And Dolo traveled from Miami to Arizona to motherfucking New York to New Jersey to everywhere. Dolo be everywhere. Dolo be exactly, Red Spot. I ain't gonna speak on that though. We could speak on it. We could speak on that, bro. But I ain't gonna speak on that. Shoot, I ain't gonna speak on it. I ain't gonna indirectly do it either. Because I'm being sincere right now. Dolo I ain't never seen Dolo with 9, 10 different GoFundMes. Excuse me. I ain't never seen Dolo collecting money, like I said, for a Dolo, for a child care facility somewhere, or Dolo saves the children, and then all of a sudden Dolo got tax problems, so it's like, fuck the children, I'm gonna go take this bread and do me. Like, I ain't never seen Dolo do that. So, like, it's hard for me to sit back and listen to a nigga who I know literally begs for money, because that's what I call it. A GoFundMe for a project is not begging. GoFundMe, 7, 9, 10 different GoFundMes, and you done took the money off and they ain't never used it for none of the projects, nigga, that's begging. Now, I'm not saying you had 10 GoFundMes. I'm just saying people with a whole bunch of different GoFundMes. I'm just saying. How you gonna call this nigga a bum? His traveling and the shit he doing off his own dime. So whatever he doing, he making enough money to make sure he's sustaining himself to the point where he ain't got to be out here begging nobody for nothing. Like, I can't get mad at Dolo. And I can't let nobody sit there and talk shit about the nigga who got a bigger platform, who talks about how they don't like bullies, but seem to be turning into one. When people, I'm just saying, Marshal, that's how you be starting to see. I'm just saying.
Pharaoh. And based upon the shit you saying, man, you have some additional questions to answer. Check this out. In the live stream last night with Kev Gills, when you pulled up this document right here on the left side of the screen and you were talking about this particular situation, you accounted for a little over $12,000. You said that was a credit prepaid balance. You said that this was on June of 2017. You said you right there, you accounted for a little over $12,000. Here's the problem. This is the true problem right here. In this video, right here, look at how much you asked for. You said, I'm looking to raise $15,000 in order to meet the requirements of a retainer fee. Again, like I told the people, a retainer fee is an upfront cost that has to be paid before a lawyer even begins to do their work.
Right.
Now, Michael Ellis posted some information saying that, you know, with a lawyer saying that there was no fees associated with that case. But like I said, regardless of that, you only accounted for a little over $12,000, but yet you asked for $15,000. For all we know, you may have gotten $15,000, you may have gotten that $12,000, you may have gotten 20, 30, or 40, or 50,000. We don't know.
You know,
since you like throwing out challenges, here's my challenge to you. Since you like throwing up account information and you have the ability to blur information out, post everyone who donated to this particular case as far as you having this, what you claim, wrongful conviction overturned.
Now, again, this is not my audio. I did not create this audio. Fair use. I am just using this audio for critique purposes. This is how people feel out here right now, Marshal. This is how people feel, yo. Niggas is tired of being fucked over. And when we see somebody that we want, that we feel that has a voice that could keep moving forward as far as being close as you can to being 100% with people, that's mostly what Black people be looking for. It's what we be looking for. It's hard. Like I said, for me personally, it's too much shady stuff around you. It's too much. How is a person who told me that, who came out and told everybody, was saying, you told me that in the world that you got your, you been got your status corrected, who you went to go get your status correction, blah, 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 but yet you're going through attorneys. If you talk about status correction, that's my personal forte. So I know for a fact that anyone who allegedly has their status corrected is the sole proprietor of themselves, that business, that corporation, which name is Marshall Daniels. So you represent that name. You are the attorney. You are the king. You are the judge. You are the everything for that name. How then are you turning that over to someone who is, if you got an attorney, he is a part of a labor organization, which license and bonds him, just called bar. And the bar, anyone who's a part of the bar knows anything about the bar knows that those people are officers of the court. And then you know that the court is, of course, the legal fiction, blah, 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 blah. That's a red flag for me, among other things. I'm just saying, there's a lot of shady stuff around you and these donations. Now, the brother is talking about a video that's clear that you put up February 4th, 2017. About legal donations, about a lawyer that you had to pay money for him to handle everything. That was a day after everything was supposedly handled. And I have that right here. We also reject defendant's contention that the conviction is not supported by legal sufficient evidence because of breaks in the chain of custody of the gun recovered from the lawn of the house. It is well settled that breaks in the chain of custody affect only the weight to be given to the evidence. People versus Craven. Okay? Breaks in the chain of custody affect only the weight to be given. Meaning, if somebody came in and accidentally stepped on something and broke it or whatever, that was an accident. It didn't change the fact that they had video camera evidence as well of the person shooting the person, throwing the gun and dropping whatever it was out of their pocket that you stepped on and may have tampered with or whatever. It's not enough to affect anything. That's what that means. But I'm just saying, bro, I'm reading it right here. Viewing the evidence in light of the elements of the crime in this non-jury trial, we further conclude that the verdict is not against the weight of the evidence. Okay? Finally, the sentence is not unduly harsh or severe. Entered February 3rd, 2017, Francis E., I think it's Pharaoh, clerk of the court. It was a day before you went on and did this video. That's a day before you went and did this video. Hold on, I'm going to even screen share it so that y'all can see it. That's a day before you. That's it right there. I'm going to give y'all a second to watch it yourself. To read it yourself. Could y'all read it? Could everybody see it? Entered February 3rd, 2017, which was a day before this video. So shit was already in motion with this attorney well before. It had to have been before you said that you got the money. It just, something's kind of, it's murky, bro. That's all I'm saying. This shit is murky. It's murky. It's murky.
Post their names on the left side, blur their names out. Then on the right side, show the amount that they donated, every single person. And then once you do that, the challenge is for you to give back every single penny of that money to the people, being as though you lied from the beginning.
Oh, no, we have a question in the chat. Can you have a public defender and a paid attorney at the same time? Not for the same goddamn case. Now, you could have a let's say a fucking drunken public charge, and you gotta pay and you took a public defender, but you got a fucking dope case also, and you went and hired a paid attorney for that. Like, you can't have two attorneys. I'm not aware of anything that says that you can't, especially when it's involving those two, but not. I've never heard of you having a paid attorney and a public defender, because if you got the money for a paid attorney, they're not going to give you a public defender. So even if you got a public defender for like a bullshit charge, you still would have had to have lied on your paperwork or whatever, saying about how much you make. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't get the public defender is basically because you're indigent. You know what I'm saying? That you're not really you basically poor in a sense. So that's why where the public defender process comes in, and they make sure they provide somebody for you. But it's a sham because he's an officer of the court too, and they're all colluding together.
You told on yourself in your music video. This particular video, you edited out around the 19-minute mark, which is, you see it here.
And the reason why he's talking about Marshall, about you telling on yourself, what he's saying is this. You went to court to try to get it overturned. Hold on a second. Anyways, the point he's trying to make is not only about just the money, is that about the donation, is the fact that you're trying to get your case overturned for a chain of custody and how they handle the gun. Now, the only thing that you could say is that they planted that gun there, which I don't think that's what you're saying, because you would just say that. So basically, you trying to get off whatever it was you did. That's what it means to try to get off on a technicality. Because they accidentally didn't seal the bag after they put the gun in it, or whatever the proper actual protocol is. If it's a step-by-step protocol and they did A, B, C, D, E, and skipped F and went to G by accident and continued on H and Q and R and everything else, and then, oh shit, we forgot that we didn't do F or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like that, he tried to get off on that. It didn't change the fact that the pistol that whoever was shooting it at, whoever got shot or got shot at, was thrown wherever the fuck it was thrown by whoever the fuck they had who did the time, who threw the shit, allegedly. So it's a lot of that in and of itself I guess that's where a lot of people, before I recognized it, being honest, a lot of people had their faults with you. Like, nigga, how is you trying to get money for a lawyer to overturn some shit you did? It's one thing if they was being crooked and all that shit. Nigga, you was out here doing wild, dirty shit.
You edited that portion out because you told on yourself again, and I wrote the blog, you read the blog, and then you went back and edited it out. And it says it right here. I reposted this video because I had to edit something out, family, and that's what it was, because I wrote that blog. But you got to ask yourself some questions, because one, the fact that you knew you were wrong is wrong of you to come out and then ask the people to fund you in trying to have a conviction overturned when you were actually wrong. Now, if it was a truly wrongful conviction, that'd be different. But you told on yourself. And then you're going to ask the people to help you in that situation, and then we find out that there was no fees associated with your case. And the only thing you can come up with is, oh, you know it's illegal to record an attorney? Why don't you address the claim? Because you showed us this document where you're saying
let me say this before he continues. Anybody who comes out preaching pro-blackness in any fashion, and especially the new age, I'm going to talk pro-black but not call myself pro-black people. Anybody who does that, and when something happens on this YouTube bullshit, or this just basically internet talk and YouTube chatter, and they start reciting law to you, or you breaking the law, or you breaking this law, not saying that you frauding people, because if you frauding people, that's a fraud. You're a fraud. That has nothing to do with the law. That's like a murderer. If you're a murderer, you're not a murderer just because United States Code says you are. You're a murderer because you are a murderer. You see what I'm saying? Not that shit. I'm talking about, what do you know? It is a video recording. Who makes a law about recording? Nigga, is my recorder is you talking on my phone, I can record whatever the fuck I want. That's what real people think. Governmental people who want to hide shit, that's why they create rules like that you can't do that, so that then in turn you can't catch them doing nefarious fuck shit. Those are why those rules are created. Those are why those laws are created. But the point is, when you start doing that, reciting laws, like I heard on a clip, because I cannot watch it, but from a clip from the live stream, when Kev Gill said how he would have an NYPD, if he went to Harlem, he would have the NYPD. Tommy Sotomayor has more balls than him, because Tommy Sotomayor came in there by himself. With all the shit that Tommy talks, don't nobody even really know you, Kev, over there. They heard of you, but they don't know you. Like, they know who Tommy Sotomayor is. Nobody knows you. But you would have NYPD there? Which ones? The ones who killed Garner and them? Those ones specifically? Weird as fuck, nigga. But anybody who starts talking that shit, like they're going to involve the law and you broke a United States Code, which is the everything that you should not be supporting, for real. Just be wary.
At 440. So this is dealing with your case and what you're saying. And you said it's credit right here. Credit. You said this is saying credit prepaid bounce. And Kev Bills, you agreed with him because you were sitting there looking at the screen talking about, you read it out loud. And you were saying, yes, that's what it says. And then Pharaoh said, it does not say 6, whatever the actual day was, 2017, which is June 2017. You said a little over $12,000. But the bottom line is, you asked for $15,000. So what happened to the remainder of that money? Was a lawyer asking for $15,000? Because that's what you're making it seem like, to meet the requirements. Meet the requirements means that that's what someone asked you for. So who asked you for $15,000? Name the lawyer out. Because, like I said, Michael Edwards has information that's to the contrary of what you've been saying. So who was it that asked you for $15,000 in order to handle your case? Do that. So we can contact that person to find out if it's true. Because, like I said, Michael Edwards has information on his page that differs from what you say. But like I said, you asked for $15,000 in order to meet the requirements of the retainer fee. But again, from what you said and from what Kev Gill says, right here, you only accounted for a little over $12,000 in the month of June, which is after February the 3rd, which is when your case was decided on. Now,
Hold on. February 3rd, when this case was decided on. Now, this is what they saying, Marshal. And it's up to you to address it, because I said you can't give an interview. And when I say interview, I mean a Kev pretending he Dave Skylark and you Kim Jong-un. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that and think that that's gonna fly. The problem when you don't address specifics, people are specifically putting out that this is an issue. You're still asking for money to pay a lawyer that you were supposed to have paid up front, allegedly. But basically, the case is over, and you're still asking for money for the case. So, just saying. That shit got to get addressed.
Again, like I told people, look right here. It says he published this video on February 4th, 2017. I showed you the court documents from Justice Law, and it said his case was decided on February the 3rd of 2017, which was a day before he asked people to continue to send monies. And I posted another video, well, within the video with the court documents, with that,
which leaves a person like me, Marshall, to see to understand why you feel you could call a nigga like Dolo broke. Why? Because he's not getting enough donations after he said he needed the donation money? Is that like it's starting to seem like you hustling, bro? That's why I said I'm not banging on you right now. I'm not playing no funny audio, no none of that shit. I'm not accusing you directly of nothing. We just having a conversation saying, Marshall, before I continue, I'm just saying the shady stuff around you and donations, dates, etc. That is why I made the title what it is, because that's what I said when I was thinking about making the video after hearing some more information about you. Like, damn, bro, like, it's a lot of shady stuff, man. Ain't no sense in me just making videos for the sake of making videos, and then every other 2 days, you'll come out with a video, and we hear you semi-addressing what somebody put in the video, either whether it was me or a couple other people who doing this or whatever. Like, you're making direct statements back to what we saying. But my point to all of this shit is, at some point, you're going to have to say to yourself, like, why wouldn't you do that shit? The same shit you talk about Sarnetta's weird ass. The reason why wouldn't you talk about Sarnetta and the weird, shady shit he does? Everybody who's around him got a scamming history. Everybody who around him is some sort of ex-fucking weirdo who now turning conscious, I'm a studier book guy and come listen to me. Like Unc, for one, just Unc. Like, what the fuck does he know about evolution? Like, be for real, my nigga. Like, look at that nigga, man. There's nothing about him that would say anything other than you read the most superficial books, which means the first books you can get your hands on about evolution, and that is what you rock with, because you were doing this shit for a hustle anyway. Just saying.
Related to the title and with the information inside the video, I showed that he was asking for funds all the way through April of that year, which is 2017. And then what he did was, when he saw that I wrote the blog, he stopped asking for donations in that manner, and then he started putting together a raffle, and he was earning. This nigga is not slick, but like I said, post a video. Left side, the names blurred out. Right side, don't blur out how much they gave you. And then what we want you to do, or what I want you to do, is give all the money back to the people, being as though you lied. Because first of all, you were wrong. And you know you were wrong. And you ask those people for that money, trying to use the people and trying to abuse their kindness to try to help you in a situation that they knew nothing about, because they just wanted to believe in you. And you claim you are pro-righteous. You're not.
That's why we do this. That's why I'm coming to you the way I'm coming tonight, saying before I continue. Because I don't want to continue down this path. I didn't want to do this. I had bigger fish to fry. There's an award show that's cooking, that's coming. I got to get ready for it. I got to put on my best shirt. But I didn't want to do this.
Shame.
This is not something that I sought out.
Shame.
Everyone who knows me, even in the front and the background, know that I was never banging on Marshall, ever. I rarely even talked about him, except when I felt that motherfuckers was trying to fuck with him for no reason. Because I was hoping that the kid was moving forward in a positive direction, because I know a lot of brothers who been there, who was in the streets, in the penitentiaries, in the lockups, but they was really good dudes. Like really good niggas, man. And it's just, this shit will swarm. If you're not a fucking capitulator to a degree, man, you can't, it's hard to maneuver in this shit. So some niggas get caught up because they don't want to be the status quo and do what somebody tells them to do, and they don't have no fucking right or proof or anything to show why I gotta do what you say. As long as I'm not hurting nobody. Like, it's a lot of people who really live like that and believe that shit. So a lot of those brothers end up locked up and being in this, ending up in the system, man. It's not a good thing. And then a lot of them niggas are brilliant, man, and a lot of them really want to do shit different. That's all. They want to do something different. They want to make sure that they not the problem no more. But the problem, what I see in this issue, is somebody who's taking advantage of a situation, meaning there's a lot of people who will support everything that I just talked about, people who want to change. And it's too easy to get involved in this hustle shit. Kev Gill should have showed y'all that. That nigga hustled his way all the way to where he at, which is nowhere. He like not in real life. Like, it's a fact that I mean, things that I know about this nigga personally, like I said, is nigga, please. That's why I said what I said about him and this dude fucking with him. I personally know that this nigga got some how this nigga got his hands on a few grand at one time. That shit had nothing to do with YouTube. And I personally heard this nigga say out of his mouth, yo, I'm going to boost my page up and pretend that all this came from my page so that I could boost my page even more. Heard him say it. So I said it didn't surprise me that eventually me and him was not gonna end up, nigga, I'm not like you, man. That's corny, nigga. Like, you gonna, how me get some money and then pretend like I got it off my YouTube page? What fucking shit is that, man? How old is you, nigga? Like, that's some fucking 14-year-old shit, nigga. You got money from your grandmother, then you bought some new sneakers and try to go on a block and pretend like you hustled it up or some shit. Yeah, man, I sold me some weed, nigga. You got the whatever. You ain't got nothing, nigga. So that's the type of dude that person is. And the shit I'm talking about is like a year ago. Like, so we're not talking about 5, 6, 7 years ago, nigga. We talking about like last year. So this is not old. This shit is not old, nigga, at all. It has, I don't even think it's been a year. So since that happened. So it's like, no, like, nigga, it's come on, man. Come on, man. This is the type of people that you so-called building with. It raises red flags. And a lot of people, I told y'all, man, I told you and Seti on a video, man, before this shit happened. I said, yo, there's a lot of people who really, really, really need you niggas to fly straight, yo, and be legit. Like, it's a lot of people who is having hope and faith that you niggas would fly straight, G, and not be involved in no weird shit. Especially if you still on the fucking probation. But a lot of people expected y'all to fly straight and be real. That's something that we needed. That's something that we wanted. That's something that we could. Yo, this whole shit with the asking for money and all that shit for your personal life shit, that shit gotta cease. Now, if you got a Patreon, and let them people donate to your Patreon, and that and donate to your super chat. And that's if you're gonna run a YouTube page and live off that shit, then live off that. Whatever it is that you get off of that. But this whole YouTube personality setup, GoFundMe shit is gonna have to stop. Almost a year and a half. What is it? No, a year, almost a year. It's over a year now. Like a year and 2 months ago, I was asked, when I used to have my art behind me, I was asked by, and I would say at least 11 people, is there any way that they could donate to me and contribute to my art? I said, no. I don't have any ways for you to donate to me and continue to contribute to my art or whatever the case may be. So a friend of mine in the back showed me step by step on Google Hangouts. We was on Google Hangouts and showed me exactly how to do it. I set it up. I think somebody donated to it 1 or 2 times, and that was it. I think the total amount that I got off of that shit may have been $15. Do you want to know what I did with the $15? Because that's the kind of nigga I am. I don't play around with the shit I say about shit like that. I took the $15, nigga, and I went and bought fucking markers because I use them towards my art. So even that I use directly for something. I didn't take I think it was a Fia, if I'm not mistaken, somebody else. I didn't take their money, nigga, and even if it was nothing, I didn't take their money, nigga, and go buy cigarettes with it. Let's say that. Shit like that. Because money that I spend, my personal money that I made that I got and spend from YouTube was from selling fucking t-shirts and $122 AdSense check I got one time. That's money that I made off YouTube. That's my money. That's from me having a platform. I sat up, nigga, and created them fucking shirts, created names, linked them, shared them, all of that shit. Nigga, that shit don't take 2 minutes when you're making 45 shirts or shit like that. No, that shit takes time. I have to try to be creative on each one and blah, 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 blah. This shit is not simple. So the money that I made off those shirts, that's my money, nigga. That's a business I attach to my platform. I am not going to set up a GoFundMe saying, hey, let us donate to the local football team so that they could get helmets and uniforms and new sneakers so that their parents who pay a good amount of money already just for them to play don't have to worry about buying them sneakers, etc. And then the money comes in, I end up accumulating 11 racks, and I take the money and be like, well, shit, I had this other shit that came up that was important, family. So what I'm going to do, family, is take this money and use it on that.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Never again really speaking about when I'm going to put the money back. Never saying, yo, give me a few months. Or a matter of fact, saying, yo, look, can we do something? I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that to try to raise money to get this money to put back from the money that I raised for this, and never did it. Like that type of shit, bro. It's real hard to overlook that type of shit. That's all I'm saying.
The Pharaoh.
Hold on.
Gills.
There we go.
Not pro-righteous. Come on, man. You can't even claim to be pro-righteous and sit here and want to use your own people. I would even want you to use Caucasian people. But, yo, to try to come use your own people, yo, that's sad. And then to sit back and talk about all these other people scamming the community and then you doing the same fucking thing. Convicted felon trying to open a daycare center. You know you were wrong from the beginning, wasting the court's time and the people's tax money in New York to go in there and try to have a conviction overturned when you knew you were wrong. You posted a video in your music video saying that you did the shit, nigga. This video, you edited the portion out where you told on yourself within lying in this video, because when you lie, that's what happens. People who are not good liars are going to slip up. That's what you did. But again, you asked for 15. You asked for $15,000. but you only accounted for 12,000 in this video that you did with Kev Gills. And to be quite honest with you, how do I even know that this document is an official document? How do I know that? I don't know if there's some nowadays people can create shit like this. So like I said, you tell up.
And the reason why that has validity to it, Marshall, is, as far as I'm concerned, using this fair, open audio over the internet, the reason why it has validity, as far as I'm concerned, is because people can do that. People can, with ease, create whole college degrees. People all the time create certifications that they don't have. Okay? People have even gone around for a decade or more calling themselves clinical psychologists. and you know what I mean? And gotten away with it for a while. So, and then the fact that no one can see that paper, not to mention the fact that no one can see that paper. I'm not going to play that game like, oh, it's too small. I can't see it. Though it is too small, I can't see it. Okay, it is. I'm just saying I'm not even going to go down that route. I'm going to go down the route of people can, of course, conjure up shit every day on the internet. It really is easy. And the person that you are around. Now, let's say you were around someone else who had a little better character and was vouching for you, and it might have made a little more push in your direction. The fact that it's that individual and we know him. Like the way you think you know him, Marshall, you have no idea. We know him for real. As far as how he maneuvers on YouTube. And that is as well as public audio. That is not me making anything up. Just track it yourself. All I keep saying is watch the exposed videos. When you got people out here, watch the exposed videos. That's all I'm saying. Just watch their exposed videos. Because, again, I didn't. And it would have saved me a lot of time with a lot of people.
Who was it that asked for the $15,000 that you asked for the people when you said you need to meet the requirements? You say that, that means somebody asked you that. That's not you just saying, I think I need it.
Exactly. That's a requisite. That means it ain't happening without this. Okay? If somebody tells you, if you go to fucking Disney World, Busch Gardens, wherever the fuck you go to, okay? And the motherfuckers tell you you cannot get on this roller coaster unless you are 4 feet or over. That is what is called a requisite, a requirement. And if you are not exactly 4 feet or over, you will not move further in that line to get on that ride.
Not certain. Because I don't even think it would take you $15,000 to even go inside of a court to try to have a conviction overturned.
Yeah, that's
like I said, it's up to you to explain and set it. I want to know, being as though you've gone around and you said the Caucasian man, woman, and child is the enemy, are you down with this pro-righteous movement that Pharaoh has concocted? Because he's asking for all people, nationality, creeds, and all that. So I guess it would be if you're homosexual as well. Are you down with this shit? Are you down with that?
And speaking of that, that kind of caught my attention today. And I was, I've been a little busy this morning, so I haven't given the time that I probably otherwise would have that I'm giving right now. But, hold on. That led me to this. When he was, a video he did where he was supposedly speaking on behalf of the people that were coming outside the grocery store where Dolo was, which I'm going to play that audio in something separate. But the people who were coming outside of the grocery store, that's when Marshall was calling Dolo bro. Dolo doesn't have any GoFundMes and he travels everywhere. Every time I see him on YouTube, that nigga's somewhere different. politicking with people. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, can't be that broke moving around that much. But he's just a little quirky, man. Dolo is a little weird. But anyway, he was talking about how Dolo was scaring the white people that were coming outside the store and this, that, and the third. Now, what I want him to realize is, and why he's saying you can't tell who's a good white person, who's a bad white person, you can't tell this, you can't that, you don't know, I'm not going to be this way because of slavery. Basically saying the complete opposite of the whole mission statement from when you first came in. But those same people that you cape for who are walking out of that store being harassed and maybe afraid of Dolo, not setting a good image was the word that he said, used, image that he used. We'll talk about that.
What's up, Facebook friends and family? I got a real sensitive topic, man. I really want to touch on, because things occur in life that don't necessarily affect you personally. You kind of don't pay no attention to it. But this today, I was personally affected by touchy situation and topic that we all know still exists, definitely through our minorities. And I'm going to touch on racism for a few minutes, man, because it's real dear to me. Just at home this morning. So, you know, I stopped at a gas station that I stop at every morning and get the same thing that I get every morning at this same gas station. My cup of coffee, my cigarettes, and, you know, some snack on or whatever I need to get me through the day. You know, my mom always raised me to open doors for women and respect my elders, you know, as she should. So with that being said, there was an old white lady, late 70s, early 80s. She's getting out of her car, getting ready to go into the store. So I pull up, I hop out. I see the lady, you know, she walking slow, taking her time, step up the little curb. So in my mind, I'm like, gonna grab the door for her, you feel me? So I go to grab the door, to open the door for the lady.
Mind you, this brother is dressed in a work uniform. Okay, he's in his work uniform. He has on a fucking vest, safety vest, like most people who have jobs who work. Whereas if you work near trucks or you might be out in the street, city worker, things of that nature, you know, most of them have those. He's wearing a vest. He's wearing his uniform, the whole 9 yards. Okay, and these are the people that, again, Marshall, this is stuff you said. I'm not putting words in your mouth. This is fair use. This is open audio. I heard you say it. I can play it if you dispute it. And I'm just answering it like saying, bro, you're not progressive because you think we all could be together. Nigga, most of the people who are a little bit older than you, like Kev's age and shit, he knows full well that we grew up in the progressive age. We grew up in progressive America where when we went to school, it wasn't no such thing as no one black kid in this class and shit like, nigga, we didn't grow up like that. We all grew up playing football together, thinking you could go to the dance with white guys and white girls and all that. There was none of that. We was all at the same skating rings. So you're not in some sort of progressive age. What we're telling you is we know that that is nothing but a trick by these people to continue to lure you in to make you not want the things you should want, which is freedom in your own shit. What we're telling you is we know that that is nothing but a trick by these people.
Lady, so she can, you know, walk through the door. I'm being a gentleman, you know. The lady starts screaming, bro. I mean, at the top of her lungs, this old lady is yelling, "Please don't rob me. Please don't rob me. You know, just take it. Don't hurt me. Just take it. Don't hurt me." You know, now, when I pulled up at the gas station, I noticed that there was a black Ford 350 Super Duty at the pumps pumping gas. And this vehicle is occupied by 2 white men as well. Well, I'm trying to calm the lady down and let her realize that, no, I am not here to rob you. You know, I'm just trying to open the door for you. Well, Next minute I know, the guy runs over there, pulls out a fucking gun. I mean, at the gas station, bro. Pulls a gun out, throws the gun in my face, like in my face, safety off, telling me, do not move. Don't you fucking move. You got life fucked up, boy, if you think you're going to come to this side of town and rob a white woman.
And these are the type of people that were coming in and out of that grocery store. Now, Dolo, who is a descendant of indigenous people and people from my other land, Africa, who were over here under bondage. Okay? Hold on a second. And Dolo feels that he want to act a certain way. Now, I wouldn't do the things that you do, Dolo. But more power to you, man. You need to make these people feel uncomfortable. You need to make somebody feel uncomfortable about it's discriminating against you secretly because of your name, because of your hair. The same people that you pretending to be progressive with is the same people that Bill Cosby was being progressive with. The same people you pretend to be progressive with is the same people that the brother who just got shot out, what's the kid who just got, whose brother be acting real crazy, just got popped by the fucking police. He was just out caping for these people. And look what they did. They could care less. The same people that walking past Dolo wanted to shoot Dolo anyway. You want to know what else about that? Them same people probably wanted to shoot Dolo if Dolo had on a fucking collared polo shirt and some wallabies and some khakis. And was walking with his lovely wife and child. You're not progressive, man. You just
and get away with it. So the other guy that he's with is calling the police. He's calling the police while his homeboy got me at damn gunpoint for absolutely nothing. Nothing. I've done nothing wrong. So I'm sitting here with my hands up, trying to explain to this dude that's got the gun pointed in my damn face that all I was trying to do was open the door for this lady. He comments and tells me, shut the fuck up. Do not move like I said, because if you move, I'm going to blow those big ass lips off of your face, is what he told me.
Now, because they don't come out and talk to you like this, you feel that you've been, we've progressed somewhere. You just think we've progressed because they're not outwardly doing it. How many times do I have to tell you people this stuff? Nothing's changed except the way they apply it. Application. That's it. The only thing that has changed is application. How they choose to apply what they're doing in real time. There's no need to be continuously outward with it because that will cause nothing but chaos. People are going to inevitably fight back. But a way to not worry about them fighting back is to make them feel that they're a part of the shit. So once they feel that they're a part of it, then they'll start going through our methods of fighting it back. They'll start doing what we say. Thank you, Monkey See. Monkey Do. Is Monkey He, whatever these monkeys here. Remember, we're monkeys now. I wish they would speak no evil, hear no evil, or see nothing. I wish they would. But monkey see, monkey do. Polite did it. I can do it too. Is what this seems like. Because the path is, that's why this is easy to see, bro. I'm serious, Marshall. That's why this is easy to see. Like, if the path is directly like Polite's path. Remember when Polite started caping for white people? Ignoring the fact that there's a whole bunch of shit that needs to take place before anybody starts to cape for them in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
So, with that being said, the lady that works inside the store, her name is Tiffany. You know, she sees what's going on. She comes out and trying to calm down this man that's got the gun in my face. She's saying, man, he come in here every day. He gets the same thing every day. He's a football coach. My 2 twin boys are supposed to play for him this coming fall.
And now here you go, a man who's really doing the work in the community. Here you go with a person who you can't measure his contribution to his community when you do that. Because I've done it before. I've done it for years. My father did it. You can't get paid. You don't get paid. You don't get paid for this shit. So your contribution to the community is immeasurable. But I got a person, I apologize. And I mean that. My daughters, I mean that sincerely. Then, Marshall, you come out and say some shit like in 3 years of YouTube, you've done more than 30 years. Like, come on, man. It's tons of brothers like this, man, who go to work probably 40 to 45 hours a week, got a family, still contribute to making other people's families better because they might not have the male role model there that he supplements at least for 4 months out of the year and 2 hours out of each day and 3 hours on Saturdays. For free. So it's hard for me to accept shit like that, man. When you say shit like that, it starts to reek of narcissism. It starts to reek of this grandiose view of yourself. So now you have to put out this larger than life image. But this is what happened to him. A man out here who really contributes to his community, who goes every day to this fucking store, gets his coffee, don't bother nobody, tries to open the door for them same people that you worried about Dolo making uncomfortable. Nigga, this is how they really felt the whole time. The difference between you and Dolo is Dolo know that. So Dolo is doing what Dolo do because he know that. I know he know that. I don't have to ask him or know that nigga or none of that shit to know that that nigga knows he's making them uncomfortable and he's doing it on purpose. As well, he should be. Shame TV East Watch. This is our standard 30-second break. Please stick with us, and we'll be right back. Thank you, everybody. And we will listen to one more bit of audio before we switch gears. When we switch gears, we will be talking about YVETTE CARNELL. I don't know if some of you have heard of her. Some of you should. Some of you have. She used to your regular with Boyce Watkins. Now YVETTE has her own platform. It seems to be thriving. And the reason why I like YVETTE CARNELL is because I am a specifics type person. And when people start talking about specifics, yeah. So I love that. And she specifically talks about generational wealth and the gap that is created and all that other stuff that you talk about other than that shit and systemic racism combined is hogwash. And it pretty much is. So, but she saw the signs and she broke away. And before we go switch completely, I want to touch on that too because I got audio on that about Marshall, about you talking about the cops grabbing people and you hope that they should. And like you shouldn't wish they do nothing. Like they've got too many skeletons in their closet, and anything that you say in pro of them at this time right now with black people, with our people, is not a good look. So I do have that audio. I'm not gonna pump that shit at you. You know what I'm saying? But you might not want to go down that path. You know what I'm saying? That's too easy to destroy.
Morning, family. This is Elder Rasan Shakur out of the great city of New Orleans, Louisiana, coming to you with another great and informative video. Peace, blessings, and love to all the melanated family.
Boyce looks like a
blessings, love to all mankind. The family, this video is going to be about young Pharaoh. Before I get started on this video, to a lot of young Pharaohs, subscribers or followers, gonna get in the comment section calling me crazy, this, that, and the other, and I'm doing this for views. I don't do a fucking thing for views. Matter of fact, I'm a follower of young Pharaoh. That's right. But get to the point, or get to the deep conversation of this video. This video gonna be about this young Pharaoh scamming the conscious community of the melanated family.
Pause, you tripping.
That is what this video is about. I done seen a lot of people make videos saying that young Pharaoh is a con man. And most of his followers are females. And a lot of people been asking the elder to do his take on what he think about it. This situation. These are alleged allegations that young Pharaoh is scamming young women, this, that, and the other, and all this shit. Number one, if somebody got a PayPal or a donation box and the person feels free in their heart that they want to give this person some money, I ain't got no problem with that.
Absolutely.
Sure don't. So if a person want to give somebody their money from their heart and their own free will, that's those people, that's what they want to do.
Exactly.
A lot of people want to give their elders some money. Why you ain't got a PayPal, this, that, and other?
Exactly.
But we ain't gonna talk about the elder.
But that's how it happens.
On this subject. We're gonna talk about young Pharaoh and his followers. And I see a lot of YouTubers bitching and moaning about women sending him money, this, that, the other. He get plenty of money in his super chat. But that's those people from their free will.
Absolutely.
They want to give young Pharaoh their money.
Absolutely.
But the main problem is a lot of people talk about, is he scamming anybody? But that's not scamming.
No, that isn't.
It's not.
Oh.
If you put up a donation box, or you put up a PayPal and somebody want to give you their money for your content, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Notice he said content.
Only time will tell if he's scamming. I can't put my finger on it. I know a lot of people saying he ask for some money for a lawyer and say he had a pro bono lawyer, in other words, a free lawyer, but he still got the money for that. Is that scamming? I don't know. Well, it is scamming if you're going to ask for a lawyer. Ask the people for some money for a lawyer, and you got a free lawyer.
That is scamming. If that's true. It's false pretenses. Thank you, Bosh. If you come out and say you're going to hold a fund and raiser for, I'm not saying it anymore, but if you come out and say you're going to hold a fundraiser for purpose A, and you do not use it for purpose A, you use it for purpose C and F, that is false pretenses, bro. No matter what you say, no matter what, you was holding donations on false pretenses. Then it appears that it's not the only donation, whatever that you held. Then, okay, you hold a donation for an attorney when you were on February 4th, you have the video up that you edited, admitted it that you edited, have the video up, still asking for donations when the case was, I just read to you and showed everybody the shit. I'm going to do it one more time before we switch gears. One more time, here it is. We also reject defendants' contention that the convention is not supported by legal sufficient evidence because of breakdowns in the chain of custody of the gun recovered from the lawn of the house. It is well settled that breaks in the chain of custody affect only the weight to be given to that particular evidence. Viewing the evidence in light of the elements of the crime, I'm reading all of the court cases. Viewing the evidence in light of the elements, viewing the evidence in light of the elements of the crime, in this non-jury trial, see People versus Danielson, we further conclude that the verdict is not against the weight of the evidence. Okay? Finally, meaning this is it. Finally, the sentence is not unduly harsh or severe. Entered February 3rd, 2017, Francis E. Pharaoh, clerk of the court. And that's that. So that's it. That's what the issue is. Is that true, Marshall? Is that, are we reading something wrong? I'm just saying there's a lot of shady stuff going on around you and donations. All right, guys. I did promise that we would switch gears to YVETTE CARNELL and Claude Anderson because it was a wonderful conversation that they had. Not that they had, that she had about it. And we're going to get into that. Hold on, she got
from this black bank.
Hold on.
Who let her live? When I watched Claude Anderson, there were a lot of things that I agreed with because I want to have an assessment of what I agree with as well as what I disagree with. I don't like to do it just one way or the other way. I don't like to be dishonest. So what I agree with when Dr. Claude Anderson says, Antonio and I have talked about how education isn't working for us. We talk about plugs and outlets. He talked about that and said it's not working. He doesn't move us. I agree. When he talks about the need for reparations, I agree. When he talks about the need that immigration hurts us and doesn't help us, I agree. So I'm watching this Rock Newman video, and I mean this, and I'm seeing this, and I'm saying to myself, like, I agree. Like, we agree on more stuff. Like, first of all, I don't even understand what you're doing with BOYCE, because you talking about reparations. He talked about Obama and redistribution. That's my stuff. But, you know, BOYCE is the one saying we don't need government, and white man ain't gonna never do nothing for you. So I'm not even understanding what he's talking about, because he talked about us being.
And BOYCE, the BOYCE she's talking about is indeed BOYCE Watkins. BOYCE Watkins, the one who works, as Charles Wu put it, his pitch man for Genesis, the company that Charles Wu works for that European conglomerate group, who has a wing, a portion of their business set up where they target the alleged African American community, and the face of that company is the pitch man, BOYCE Watkins. So all that shit BOYCE says, apparently is because he's getting paid to.
Locked in. He said you all called me doom and gloom, but he said we're in the bottom of a dark hole. That's what he said during the interview. Nobody called him doom and gloom. So he said the immigrants have a homeland. I wrote it all down, you know, for the show, because I already read power numbers, but I'm writing this stuff down. We have a specific claim. We have a specific debt owed. He said, you know, we're native black. We didn't come here voluntarily. He talked about how much in wealth whites inherited, which like strengthened them to do what they're doing today and be dominant over us. I get all that. Slavery made us commodities. All of that stuff sounds like me, and it don't sound like BOYCE. So first of all, my thing is, what are you doing? What I don't understand what you're doing, because what you're doing doesn't make sense to me, because at least 85% of what was said was in agreement with what I talk about. So, you know, this is a clip from the show. So that kind of stuck with me, right? But then what happens is at a certain point, he just kind of goes left. You're saying all this stuff about redistribution, the Homestead Act, how white people got land for free. You're rocking and rolling, and all of a sudden you go left and you start talking about, and I mean, I don't put it up because I don't want to just say, I don't like to just say stuff. I type the quotes down, and I want to put something up here. He says something to the effect of, and I want to make sure everybody's clear of what he said before, because if you want to stay here, you have to be sure of what he said before and what he said after. He said, this is one of the things he said before. He said, it is impossible for blacks to be competitive, a competitive people. You can't make it off 1.5% resource. I agree. It's impossible to be competitive. Now put a pin in that, and I'm gonna keep moving. Write it down. Put a pin in it and write it down. It is impossible. He didn't say unlikely. Okay, now here's another thing. Put a pin in this. A white kid, I don't know where he got this number from, because apparently people don't have to tell you where they got numbers from no more. They just say numbers, and the numbers just be the numbers. You know, the only people who are required to cite anything apparently are Antonio Moore and I. So he said a white kid gets 87% of what he needs to be competitive at birth. Well, I don't know where the number comes from, but okay, yeah, they do have everything, like you said, and like I agree with. They have inherited wealth. They're white. They have the social capital.
And that counts for a lot. And when those things are not factored in, when you're talking about it, you're not being genuine to the conversation. But I'll continue. I didn't want to interrupt, because this is one of those things I just kind of want to get y'all take on, and I was just going to let it play. They
have everything they need, right? Okay, so we going good. You got to understand at this point, me and Claude Anderson, we doing good. Okay, we agreed on a lot of stuff, okay, about what created this and where we are now. Then he says something that throws me all the way off to left and right field. He says race to do it.
Now that before, now I know I said I'm gonna let it play, but that one, like, look, man, racism and all that shit, that's white people's problem. Chinese people in this country, all those people, that's their problem. That is not our problem. Okay, we just the victims and we suffer from it, but that ain't our fucking problem.
You telling me that white people have everything? You telling me that they have everything because of what they did to us in slavery and how they handicapped us? But you're telling me that we have to resolve it. So hold on, here we go again, my people. I have 100%, we, me and you, descendants of slaves, Native Black people, we have 100% of the responsibility, but then he's for reparations. But then when we talk about Obamacare, he says, well, I didn't necessarily read up on Obamacare, but my problem, he says, was I was in favor of redistribution. That sounds like Bernie Sanders. That doesn't sound like race is something that we resolve ourselves. So what you have is this contradictory conversation where he says one thing on the first half of the conversation, then the second half of the conversation, he says something that makes
it's like being pro-black, but we for everybody. We can't be for everybody until we get fixed. That'll never work.
Clear that he doesn't understand what he said in the first part of the conversation. Understand me. I'm not trying to be disagreeable. I'm just saying that what you show me in that last part of the conversation where you talk about we have to solve it, you show me that you don't really understand what needs to be solved or the gravity of what needs to be solved that you talked about in the first half of the conversation. You are trying to, Dr. Claude Anderson, in that interview, you're trying to be racial and post-racial at the same time. And what I'm telling you, and what I'm telling everyone else, is that that's not possible. Now listen, I take hot calls. Like when I like to phone up the only.
Now, I didn't play this to go against Marshall, but I'm just saying, hopefully you can take from it what it means when you say things about, like he said, how he don't care about what happened to us just because of slavery. We can't feel some type of way against white people. That is what what Marshall Daniels said a day or so ago, allegedly on a live stream. I don't know how long it was ago. That's the only alleged part. Everything else, I know that he said. That's what I said. I'm addressing you different tonight. Like, I don't know, banging type shit, man. Just like, come on, man. Like, really? You really gonna be like polite, nigga? Because this is starting to sound just like him. Overlooking, when you start going down that white people train, that street, just leave it alone. Like, we deal with people, everybody deal with white people the way we deal with them because most of us work with them or whatever, so we don't have no, we just deal with them. And they deal with us as far as they're concerned, I guess. But I ain't them, so I go from my plight and the systemic racism and et cetera, et cetera. So just stay off of that, man. But to each his own. I'll let it continue.
The two numbers I recognize is Antonio's and Alexander's. If you support Dr. Claude Anderson, and I'm not, listen, we agree and disagree, but I'm going to get some other stuff in a minute. You're free to call in. I'm not somebody who's going to be like BOYCE and all these other people who just do a video and I'm not going to hear from you. I'm going to open up the phone lines when I open up the phone lines, and you can call in and say whatever you got to say. You just got to hit it first because the phone lines be full, and they probably going to be full of today. But one of the things I want you all to call on people to do, everybody should have a call-in show. Like if you're talking politics, you should be talking to the people. Not just when you run into them at the airport or whatever. You should be talking to the people. You shouldn't be just doing videos. Let people call in and have this conversation. It needs to happen. You can't run away. You can't run away. And so I'm looking at this, black people. Understand that I'm looking at this. And I'm seeing what I see, which that it doesn't make sense. And I'm seeing that's what's happening with Dr. Anderson is that he assesses the problem, but doesn't fully understand that the prescribed solution, in terms of when he says that it has to be solved by Black people, how does that jive with what you said about reparations redistribution? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And so I'm thinking about, how did you and Boyce even get together? Because you're talking about redistribution and reparations. Did y'all just get together on this business piece? And then I have to ask myself, you have some very critical things to say about Asians, Dr. Claude Anderson. How did you get with somebody who talks about Charles Wu was using as a puppet?
Talking about you, boys.
How did y'all get together? Were you being used by that person as cover? Because that's when y'all really started doing videos. And you can go to Boyce's channel and you can see them talking together, and you can see that, like, he looks uncomfortable. Like, Boyce is like, yeah, we're gonna get you out on tour. And he's like, hey, yeah, my wife don't really want me to do that. I'm older now, she don't really like that. But we'll talk about it offline. But why would you try to get an older man to, like, commit to something like this online? Like, I understand how the shadiness works.
So did Boyce Watkins, because Boyce Watkins swindled Claude Anderson into coming onto his YouTube platform, secretly working for Charles Wu, maybe not so secretly. Something's going on there. But we'll continue.
And so what I'm telling you is that on a certain level, I think you're being used by Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm just gonna put it out there. That's when you got brought in. You got brought in after the Wu stuff. And he brought you up doing the Wu stuff. Well, I talked to Dr. Claude Anderson, and he told me
that was
it made me
feel
better about myself, and told me what this was about. You know, and even, like, you know, saying like, well, we're being destructive. No, we're not being destructive. I'm not. If you don't understand any other thing that I say, understand, people in the comments continue to say, Yvette, you're not asking, you just want us to lay down and die. You don't want us to try to do anything. You don't have any solutions. I don't want you to stop trying. I actually want you to do more. I want you to become more politically involved. I want you to become more politically knowledgeable. I want you to read more books and read more articles. I want you to hold your local reps accountable more, or at least know what they're doing. We're in the foundation of political education right now. That's asking you to do more, not less. And the last thing a lot of Negroes out there be needing is more work. So you say I'm asking you to lay down. No, I'm just telling you that sitting around dreaming and putting together a vision board and believing aren't going to get you anywhere. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, everything that we have has been because we have engaged and fought the most powerful government in the world. And we've done it. And we don't have enough. That's true. We don't have what we're owed. That's true. But that's no reason for us to give up in terms of government. But back to Dr. Claude Anderson. I digress. There are a few things that I want to get to, because he always talks about us coming into their community, and we can't come into their community and get our due. And let me tell you something. I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm an American. There is no their community. This whole country is my community, or at least it should be. Like, you cannot relegate me to a particular space. That's not how this works. And what it's almost, but it's like that's what they want to do. Like, you want to convince me. You want to convince me that the problem is me. You want to convince me that I should want to just stay wherever, right? Okay, Yvette, you should just, and black people, like, yeah, I just want to be in my community. Yeah, I might want to be wherever I want to be, but I should get to decide where I want to be. That's what people don't understand. This is my whole country. What do you mean, my community? Because let me tell you something about my community. People say, well, you should shop in your own community. You know what's in my community? Publix, Kroger's, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. The main businesses in my community are multinational white conglomerates. Not no mom. It's not like these people are talking like it's 1965. Like, there's a mom and pop black store, and there's a mom and pop white store, and and we're just shopping at the white store because we just think the white water is best. That's not what's happening. What's happening is these are multinational conglomerates. These are monopolies. And if you really wanted to do black business, you would have been fighting against monopolies, because monopolies hold off people from entering the market. But you try to talk like that don't matter. You try to talk like the only thing that matters is your particular ambition. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. I'm here to
exactly. That'll never ever amount to shit. As far as with the stuff we talk about, the goals that we have.
Tell you, if you tell me, well, the white man ain't gonna never do nothing for us, listen, your government is not the white man. That's the government that we all, nobody except for stupid people walk around saying that our government is the white man. Not Asians, not Hispanics, not white people, not Latino. Like, nobody else does that except for us. That's the white man. No, that's your government. We all got the same government. And the government is the Congressional Black Caucus, it's the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, it's white people, it's Asian lawmakers, it's everybody in the government. So stop saying stupid stuff because you don't know enough to say anything different. It's not the white man, it's you holding your government accountable for a debt. And Claude seemed to agree with that debt, then he contradicted himself. I'm telling you that these contradictions don't make sense. They're not in alignment. So even when you talk about like, well, you know, integration doesn't work. I agree that there's a difference between segregation, from desegregation and integration. But we ain't never had integration in this country. We never had it. It was never fully allowed. It was never fully done. We didn't have an integration of teachers. Black teachers were just left out. We didn't ever have an integration of schools.
Still have it with NFL owners.
That's been all the way reversed.
Right now, you still have it with NFL owners. You still have it with these basketball franchises. Two black owners. One really, Michael Jordan.
Have any of that. So, like, at a certain point, you have to ask, what are people talking about when they say certain things didn't work? And I have to ask myself what Dr. Claude Anderson is talking about, because it never really happened. You're talking about like this fictional thing that never happened. So I have to ask you, where did you get that from? But that's okay. I'm about to bring something else up because there's a lot, and I gotta get through it all. So people are like, that's talking fast. I gotta get through it all. It's absolutely essential that I get through everything on this paper, because if I don't, I know y'all gonna talk about me tomorrow. So I gotta get through everything that happened. Everything that Dr. Claude Anderson said when he talks in the videos, when you go and watch the videos, when you read his books, so much of what he talks about is a failure of government. And I think that's why he talks reparations, because he talks about the failure of government. So I don't understand, like I said, how you're with BOYCE, because BOYCE said government ain't gonna never do nothing for us. I don't even understand how y'all don't understand that your interests don't like really align. So, but it is what it is. So there was a when you take it piece by piece, another thing that Dr. Anderson says is, you know, we in Powernomics, those of you who read Powernomics, if you haven't read it, you can just go watch a video. There's a good video that gives you kind of a synopsis of it, right? And he talks about buying politicians. Well, here's the interesting thing. Politicians are very expensive. And all money is not the same. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? I want to be very clear in terms of what I mean. There was a study that looked at like what happens when you buy politicians and how much they cost. And I just want to read a little bit from it so that we can all be clear on what this looks like. And it says, the study also looks at any connections between money from the telecom industry and a crucial 2006 House vote on net neutrality. For every $1,000 a representative received from corporations supporting net neutrality like Google or Netflix, they were 24% more likely to vote for it. For every $1,000 from companies opposing it, they were 2.6 more likely to vote against it. See, this is the thing that's happening. Our money ain't the same. So, like, what that means is, like, if you're doing some stuff for the people, that means your money ain't even. it ain't even worth the same as their money. Like this is you have to understand it. You got billionaires now. You got billionaires out here basically propping up presidential campaigns. That's Citizens United. You got billionaires out here who are players. There was a great study not too long ago that said even if you were a player and a millionaire, millionaires aren't players in the political game no more. So you telling me millionaires aren't players in the political game no more, but we are? So the poorest people, African Americans, because of what happened to us, the poorest people are supposed to be the ones buying politicians. We're supposed to be buying politicians? See, what you tell when you say that kind of thing to me, what you show me is that you don't understand the political climate that we're in. Millionaires aren't even really buying politicians like that. Not national politicians. They can buy local ones to a certain extent, not governor. But like you can't do that anymore. So when I tell y'all, hey, let's fight Citizens United, well, we can't depend on, we gotta do for self. You can't buy a politician. Let me say something. Let me use my phone. I'm gonna use my phone as a calculator. Now let's look. Let me show you. If you put what we have as descendant of slave, native black people, you add this, you start adding this stuff up, right? You start figuring this stuff out. What you realize is that even if we have $1 million, we may be able to buy like 4 or 5 congressional black caucus members. Now that's not even as who we are. Exactly. That's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough to do what we need to do. And a lot of this Claude Anderson stuff that we're talking about, like he said this, what he was talking about was like what you're talking about. When you look at this book, it's like 2000. You got TPP. Right before he wrote the book, it was NAFTA, and then you have Citizens United. You have a lot of policy things that change the game, but it doesn't seem like people have made a space for that. It doesn't seem like people have understood that how this policy changed everything, and that's a problem. See, you were living in a place where they got everything, and you can say, well, no, Yvette, you said they got 90% or whatever. Listen, understand me. We produce nothing.
Exactly.
Name me one Negro you know who produces potatoes for
anything. Your lights, who produce coal, who smelt metal. Nothing. That's a problem. That's an issue.
For McDonald's. Name me one Negro you know who has a farm that produces beef for Burger King. Name me one Negro you know who has a factory.
And as Francis Cress Welsing said, once we get through the generation gap and the systemic racism, then we can start talking about, pro-righteous movements and shit, or all of us coming together. But until that time comes, no, you look like a buffoon. Anyone who does stuff
that produces clothes for whoever. We produce nothing. And what's happening is you can't go and act like, listen, this is what is happening. We got people like Dr. Claude Anderson who are acting like, even though he's demanding reparations, what he's acting like is that we already got reparations. He's behaving like we got our reparations and now we can go compete. Except we ain't. We didn't get no reparations. We didn't.
People who do that stuff, who act like it's our we have to fix racism and we have to do this, that, and the third. See, what these people are not realizing is what they're doing is they're counting to 5, starting with 3. And something that Shane TV's watch, we notice right offhand. Because you're overlooking all the other points. You're overlooking everything else. Exactly. We produce mixtapes, dances, slang, and athletics. Excuse me, athletes, because we don't produce the athletic arenas in which they participate in. That's pretty much it. And the Boston Celtics right now, for those of you who might not know, are producing a major ass whooping on the Milwaukee Bucks. That's just me personally. That's just for Snap since he came in here. Okay, you know, guys, we don't talk sports up here, but Snap just came in, and I would like him to know that the Boston Celtics are indeed producing an ass whooping on the Milwaukee Bucks. That's he know where that shot came from Instagram. But let's continue.
To get anything, so you
crazy suicide.
Then you got your boy still out here talking stupid. You got Dr. Boyce Watkins out here saying, well, you know, we just out the biggest key to closing the wealth gap. He doesn't even call it the racial wealth gap. He don't know what he's doing. Is to stop comparing ourselves to white people. Save, invest, study, and you'll be fine.
No, you won't.
See, the thing is, I don't even have any problem with people saying stupid stuff. I don't even have any problem with y'all sending this stupid stuff to me. I have no problem with it. But one of the things that I want to say is, if you're not going to the report Antonio Moore and Dr. Sandy Darity, Derek Hamilton, you know, did and published out last week. If you're not going to just admit that you're not a scholar, like you don't care about data, you don't care about scholarship, just call yourself a cult leader. That's what it means. When you're just out here believing what you want to believe, you're just a cult leader. You're not no scholar. You don't believe in scholarship. You don't believe in data. You don't believe in statistics. You just telling us to do stuff we've disproven. I have provided on this show dozens of statistics to show that what he is saying is a myth. All of these is built on myths. You hook to boomers too, boys, with your police officer daddy and your grandmama that you talk about all the time. And my grandmama said save her pennies. What I'm telling you is that we have data to disprove all of that. So if you don't want to do it, then or you don't want to understand it, just say, listen, I'm not a scholar. I ain't wrote a journal article. I ain't never wrote a book. I just believe. But don't just be talking about how you got a PhD all the time. It's annoying. And even with Dr. Claude Anderson, you have to you know, when he says in Powernomics, a black person shouldn't want a government or corporate job. You had a government job. You worked in Carter's administration. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You've never run a successful business. We got a lot of people running around who've never run a successful business, telling us how to be business people and make $1 million, and you ain't never seen a million.
Now that's an issue I'm glad she's touching on right now, because from a person who's done it from the first, I was fresh out of my teenage years, and me and my friend tried to open a business together, and it was of course unsuccessful, but we was out there every day grinding, broke as a motherfucker, bringing in a little money here, a little money there, like doing it. Until later, you know, I got older and ran a business for a lot longer. Actually fed ourselves the whole 9 yards from that. Paid the rent and everything off of it. So I guess that would be deemed a success. But it baffles me when I hear these motherfuckers running their mouth. I'm like, dog, you don't know what it means to fucking run a business. You don't know what it means to hire people, have to fucking pay taxes or not pay them, make sure they pay theirs or whatever the case may be. I was like, come on, man, stop it. Know what to do when they don't show up for work. Or you ain't never ran no business, nigga. Having to deal with the clients when the clients are being full of shit and you still got to deal with it because you're in a contract with them and all this shit. Like, yo, you don't know none of that shit, dog. You don't know what none of that mean. None of you niggas know what none of that mean. From especially the fucking weird niggas out there that's talking that shit in this community. What you do, get your business and then a license and then make sure you pay your tax. Shut up, man. Stop trying to repeat stuff. You heard Jay-Z say on a rap song or some shit because you personally have never done that shit.
In your life, what are you doing? Not about upsetting me, but what are you doing to your people? We're supposed to be in this together. What is BOYCE selling other than selling you pipe dreams and snake oil? Like, you gotta follow. You can't keep following these people who make money off you being poor.
Mm-hmm.
If you get money, then you're not gonna buy no boot camp stuff, and it's gonna be a problem. So I gotta keep you like leave that political stuff alone. Just come here and buy more tapes. And if that tape DVD didn't work, we got another DVD, or maybe you did something wrong. Maybe you're the problem. Haven't I told you that everybody who keeps telling us that we're the problem, there are problems, and there are people that you should be suspicious of? Mm-hmm. Haven't I said that?
Mm-hmm. People who want to turn on their people when they know what got their people in the predicament that you would want to turn on them in the first place. Crazy.
Already? Like, how do you not keep that? And how do you undo the Homestead Act? You got to get that back. And at least Dr. Claude Anderson does that much, right? But he says in the video, in the video that I talked about, in this video, he says a lot of things very interesting. But one of the things that he says is that, well, he said he was talking, he said there were 500 white billionaires, over 500, and he's right. But he also says that black kids can't compete. I shared that clip earlier. He said black kids can't compete with white kids. Then he turns around and says it's on us to close the racial wealth gap or deal with this. Understand that this makes no sense, because what do you think these white billionaires are going to do? Do you think they're going to just be like, oh, their business? In the history of the world, that's never happened. In the history of this country, every time we try to start something, they shut us down. See, one of the things that y'all got to stop saying to me, you got to stop saying this to me. Well, Yvette, we've been begging for 400 years and the white man ain't never done nothing. We got to try something different. No, you just don't know enough to have a conversation with me, because the truth of the matter is we've been doing black capitalism. We've been doing black entrepreneurship just as long as we've been doing everything else. And you know what's happened? White mobs, white barriers to entry, people burning down our businesses and we can't get them built back up. This is what's happened. But if you don't know our history in this country, it's very easy for you to get fooled. And let me just put something up really, really quick. I'm not going to keep this up long, but I have to put this up quick because I want to show you something very interesting. This is, how many of you, I had this book, I shared parts of this book a while back, 1919, the Year of Racial Violence. And one of the things that was highlighted in this book was how black businesses were targeted by violent white mobs. See, the thing is, what you have to think about in terms of Dr. Claude Anderson, and what you have to think about in terms of Boyce Watkins is in what kind of era does it make sense? So when I think about Dr. Claude Anderson, I ask myself, how do his ideas of us being the answer for what was done to us make sense? And it only makes sense if we're like in an alternate universe. It only makes sense if we got reparations and this other stuff didn't happen. It only makes sense if like we have a standing army. Now, if you made us and you gave us like 4 or 5 states, California and 4 or 5 states on the West Coast, and we had our standing army, and we were backed by African countries who were like, listen, we're gonna shut stuff down. We're not gonna trade with y'all. You're not gonna get no oil. Begin to see how the ideas would kind of make sense. But apart from that, if you don't have that, the ideas don't make sense, because you understand that we tried entrepreneurship. It's not that we haven't tried. It's not that we haven't done it. It's not that we haven't had businesses. We have. But we haven't had the protection of government. Because like I said before, government, our government, whether you like it or not, it's your government, it's my government. And the government is never neutral. Like, even when we talk about it, we have conversations about
everybody's advances come from them.
How the Asians take over. The Asians take over the hair business.
From all these sports leagues, if it wasn't for the force of government, there'd be no NCAA football, there'd be no NCAA sports, basketball, etc. There'd be no pro leagues. All this shit comes from force of government, not allowing other people to do the same.
Well, when you look at that, though, you see part of how they took it over was the government, our government, like banned hair extensions or weaves or whatever from China. And the Koreans basically shut down weed shops and did a whole bunch of other stuff. So they did involve government. Nobody does it for self. Everybody has involved government, got the benefit of government, got the benefit of quote unquote whiteness, all of this stuff. And you can't undo that. The people who did it in the first place have to then come in and say, you know what, we're going to make this right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make it right. That's what has to happen.
Or some sort of compensation.
And so, we haven't been begging for. You've been doing black capitalism. And what's happened is the white people just come in and burn down your store. And they can still do it. And understand, you have to understand too. When I talk about Korean business, when people talk about, well, Yvette, that Korean business is doing business. Understand one thing. The storefront, when you go to a store that's run by Koreans.
Hold on.
The store is not the big.
I got to join a private message, not private message, but a group about the Shane TV shirts. I'm making some new shirts trying to make some new shirts. I got I made some socks the other day, and I don't know if I'm going to put them up or not, but they kind of look okay. I wanted to order some and get some first and see how they look before I put them up. But I'm going to definitely do that soon, like probably tonight when I get done with this. But this is, again, YVETTE CARNELL thoroughly exposing BOYCE WATKINS, and she's using and Claude Anderson for his newly union with BOYCE. And it's like the same thing. When I started saying things I was saying about Marshall, it was because, when I see you rolling with this person, I know this person is not up to par. And it's like, that's kind of what she's saying about Claude Anderson. Like, you got kind of sucked into this right when BOYCE got exposed as a pitch man for Charles Wu. And we already know what a front man is and a pitch guy is. So after that happened, he needed something. He needed an elder to come in there and take the attention off. What do? Who else was just doing that? When Professor James Smalls started getting trotted out there, he didn't know what was going on, where all this backlash coming from. The sign that it was putting them in the middle of shit, just to draw the attention away. That happens all the time.
Business. I'm going to say that one more time, and I'm going to say it slow. The store is not the business. The store is the end. The store is the distribution center for the rest of the business. The connections that they had back home. The money that they came with from home to start capital.
The tax benefits.
The connections from home for that hair.
The tax benefits that they get, like them Arabs do, and them do from them other countries, from Morocco and shit, when they come over here and they run the store for 3 years, and then they little shit run out, and then here comes, that's why you notice, here comes a new person running the store. Now it's just their cousin. It's his turn to come in and make some American money while the other one goes to another store and gets another 3-year tax benefit. Blah, blah, blah. That's how they do it. It's a hustle, nigga. Like, that's a straight up hustle that I know for a fact is a hustle. And this is shit we got to compete against. You can't compete against that shit.
Which allowed them to shut down other stores and undercut black beauty supply stores. All of that, everything that went into that, the before you got to the storefront, everything that went into that is the business. The store is just the distribution center. So if you're saying, well, I can start a business too, what I'm telling you is you don't understand business and you don't understand the infrastructure that this Korean business with a homeland and a country has behind it, because you also have America, which is trying to have good relationships with this Korean business, right? So America wants to have good.
I'm Healthy Heavyweights asked, so what can we do? And for me, the only thing we can do, like, that could immediately affect us is trying to do our best to not pool our money. I don't say stupid shit like that. Like to pool your money, everybody got to be on one accord. But we got to start at least trying to help one another out in business ventures. Meaning, if you got, let's say you came into money, you got $500,000. You still got your job. You ain't a fool, so you ain't quit your job. You know what I'm saying? So you got a nice little home already. You was making good money. You came into money. Yo, you know people who have real good business ideas, and it wouldn't take more than 10 grand, 13 grand to get them started. Little shit like that. Help them along the way. That type of shit is shit that we can start doing for one another to make a difference, as well as going every time you go online and see a black person that got a store or anything, buying something from that store and sharing it as much as possible. Now, the reason why you have things like Shame TV East Watch is because nigga is motherfuckers out here who are using this as a ways to scam people, and I'm not going to allow that. We will not have it. I say we will not have it. So that's what, and other than that is locally try to galvanize your people in any way you can, starting with your family and friends, to start really trying to press the issue for reparations, because that's one of the only things that's going to fix it. Reparations and not necessarily wealth redistribution, but land redistribution, meaning the reason why most of these people got this whole inherited land is because it was literally given to them. They did not do one single thing to earn it. You just went out and put a stick there, and that was that. So there's plenty of free land and space for on this continent, in America, in this hemisphere, for that to continue to take place for our people, for us to try to start doing something different. But other than that, like all that other shit, let's vote for what's president and all that stupid shit, that's just a waste of fucking time.
Relationship with South Korea. And so you got all these people from there here, and they can call back to their homeland and be like, we need you to advocate. You need to talk to this diplomat here or this person here. That's what happens. You know, business in South Korea in the 1960s is instrumental to understand the Korean ownership of beauty supply stores. Now just listen to this for me. Just listen to this for 1 second. According to the book, On My Own, Korean Businesses and Race Relations in America, the rise
of... Let me get this out before I let her finish. These things that she's talking about is a process that happened over time. That's why it's a built-in thing. We don't have no... these things are built-in things. You know what I'm saying? And this is something... Hold on. What did you say? Reparations? Hell no. This is ours. But okay, I understand all that. I understand that you feel that way, and I understand that a lot of Moors still feel that way, because I feel that way. But at the same time, reparations, when I say reparations, I mean it in the root of the word, which comes from the word repair. And they damaged something, so they need to repair that something. No different than anybody else who will be liable for something that they damaged. Understand? So I don't do all that the treaty shit and none of that shit, because ain't nobody upholding no treaty. Because if that was the case, we'd all be doing it right now. There'd be a city called Moortown, and it wouldn't be ran by no European. That's where I'm coming from. I understand all of that stuff. What I'm telling you is reparations means repair. It means you did something fucked up, and you're liable for that. And they're liable for that. They're liable for my ancestors for their descendants, which is me and you and everyone else, being in the predicament that we are in, pretty much because of, you're liable for that. You got free wealth. No one gets free fucking wealth. You're liable for that. But I just want to say, and when I wanted to point out that there's no, when I was talking about solutions, all this shit is not going to be fixed in a moment. Like, that's another thing that we got to remember, that this is all going to be a process. Nothing is going to be fixed in one moment. Nothing's going to happen in a moment. You got to realize that everything you're doing is supposed to be carried over into the next generations. Like, not for you to be like, okay, yeah, we done now. Woo! Now can I watch football without nobody complaining about it? Or blah, 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 blah. Like, no, it's not going to happen.
Trade wig manufacturing company was significant. Founder Young Ho Chang conceived the idea of the company while working as the vice director of Korean Trade Promotion Corporation in the U.S. between 1965 and 1978. His company exported $100 million worth of wigs. The wig business was doing so well, especially amongst African-American consumers, that the Korean wig merchants pushed to corner the market. Understand how the government and this guy who's been doing this in terms of diplomacy and whatever, how this is hand in hand.
So you can't just say, why won't black people buy hair from each other? Yo, the government is the reason why you don't see black hair so much. One of the reasons.
In 1965, the Korean wig merchants joined together and convinced the Korean government to outlaw the export of raw hair, said Aaron Rennan, a filmmaker who has documented the marginalization of African-American entrepreneurs in the hair care industry in the film Black Hair. This ban made it so that one can only buy the pre-made wigs and extensions. In other words, Korean hair could only be manufactured in Korea. 6 months later, the United States government created a ban on any wig that contains hair from China, effectively putting South Korea in a prime position to exploit the market. So you sitting here telling me that we got to be more like Asians, and we got to corner the market, not understanding that they cornered the market by getting government to advocate for them. If your government is never neutral, if your government does never get in a position to advocate for you, you will always be on the bottom. Government has to provide an environment for your business to flourish, or otherwise you're screwed. It is that way. It has always been that way. It will always be that way. And it is amazing to me that people who consider themselves experts in black capitalism do not understand that government provides the environment for certain businesses to flourish and certain businesses to lose. Governments decide, your government, my government decides winners and losers in business. And if you are not doing that, if you are not understanding what South Korea is and how South Korea was used as some sort of, how the South Koreans here were able to use their government to put pressure on our government to get their businesses to thrive, then you don't understand business. And you really shouldn't be teaching business. And so, there are a couple of other things that I want to hit in terms of how we just don't understand what business is. And partly the reason we don't understand is because the people you listen to have never really run a business, a successful business, especially in the height of income inequality. Selling you a DVD about how to do business when you've only run a website it's not going to work.
Exactly.
And especially a website is not really making money anymore. It's not going to make. You can't tell me that you know how to do business if the only thing you're selling is something to teach me how to do business. That's just an educational product that kind of uses my aspiration and takes advantage of my aspiration and my desperation to enrich yourself. It's not the same thing. And another thing, when you look at Dr. Claude Anderson, another thing he says is that he talks about how people never respected us as black people, as African Americans, descendants of slaves, native black people, because we're weak. And I didn't say it. He said it. Wow. He said because, we just never fought for ourselves. Now, the quote I just put up is from Ida B. Wells. And the quote says, a Winchester rifle should have a place of honor in every black home, and it should be used for that protection which the law refuses to give. Now, Ida B. Wells said that, and she meant that because she understood that blacks were fighting back. See, one of the things we have to stop doing is allowing people who don't understand history to tell us what happened in history. Let me just. I read this book a while ago, A Black Communist in the Freedom Struggle. And please don't tell me, well, I'm not a communist. I can't read that. I read stuff the capitalists write all the time. I I read stuff from every avenue because you can't limit yourself that way. You just can't. Not and be a grown person and consider yourself an intellectual person. But he has a very good story in here about blacks fighting back. And I'm going to start at the top. Please just bear with me for a moment. And he says, I had to start for it. Here we go. Something that was very interesting to me. He says he was from Chicago. And he says, back home in Chicago, I was soon working again as a waiter on the Michigan Central Railroad. And I have mentioned the first day of the bloody Chicago race riot, which was basically attacks of white people on black people. And that was in 1919. And came while I was working on the Wolverine run up through Michigan. When I arrived home from work that afternoon, the whole family greeted me emotionally. Then I went out into the streets. And he says, it was not surprising that he found black people, military, mostly black men coming back from the military, coming back from World War. He found them and he says, listen, it was not surprising that defensive preparations were underway. There had been clashes before, often when white youths in athletic clubs, white young people in athletic clubs, which were just racist mobs, invaded the black community. These clubs were really racist gangs, organized by city ward healers and precinct captains, right? Now here's what he says about what happened. He talks about how these white people used to come through and just shoot up and dog black communities. This is what he said that the black veterans did. The black veterans set up an ambush at 35th and State, waiting in a car with the engine running. When the whites on the truck came through, they pulled in behind and opened with a machine gun. The truck crashed into a telephone pole at 39th Street. Most of the men in the truck had been shot down and the others fled. Among them were several Chicago police officers off duty, of course. You had Negroes out there running
the police in disguise going to terrorize people. And certain people believe that the police should be doing fucked up shit to us, period. But
people with guns. What are you talking about? We never defended ourselves. What are you talking about? What do you know? I mean, this is from the 1919 book, and it says this is also a quote. It's also a quote about how we. Let me make it a little bit smaller for you. Just give me a second. But it's a quote about how we defended ourselves and how, what the strategy was, how that worked. I don't understand us. I don't understand how we let people just sit around us and say, yeah, people don't respect us. Because in that interview, if you go watch it, Claude Anderson basically says, yeah, I was talking to a Mexican and he don't understand why we always begging, and I agree with it. How do you let somebody say that about you and your people? What do you mean you talking to this dude? He doesn't know enough. This Mexican you talking to don't know enough about black history to be telling me or telling you that we don't do enough. You just got here. And you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for how we fought and what we did. And you don't get here to sit here and tell me that we don't demand enough. Who are you?
But the progressive mind says that Mexican who don't know shit about you should just be one with you, and we're all, long as they're righteous with you, and I think I've had enough for one evening.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Shame TV, East Watch. This is crazy. I'm gonna let it go a little bit more because it's very long, but it's very powerful and to the point of a lot of things that I was trying to make points, especially when it comes to generational wealth gaps and systemic racism. Man, it's hard to overcome that shit.
You go watch it. Claude Anderson basically says, yeah, I was talking to a Mexican and he don't understand why we always begging, and I agree with it.
A Mexican.
How do you let somebody say that about you and your people? What do you mean you talking to this dude? He doesn't know enough. This Mexican you talking to don't know enough about black history to be telling me or telling you that we don't do enough. You just got here. And you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for how we fought and what we did. And you don't get here to sit here and tell me that we don't demand enough. Who are you? You don't get to tell me anything. I walk away from you in a heartbeat and just say you don't know enough to talk about. I will do it again and have done it. You don't know enough to have a conversation. You just got here. Been here. You know, people been here a long time. Once you've been here that long, then you come back and we can have a conversation. Once you read out the books, we can have a conversation. Once you read out the articles, we can have a conversation. You don't get to come here and tell me what I need to be and who I need to be. We're 14% of the population. We fought as hard as we could. We had
and where would that Mexican get that sort of exactly right spot? But where would they get that sort of conversation from? I wonder where. The progressive where you should just get along with everybody.
There's stories in both of these books about black people who got guns, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, to defend our communities. What are you talking about? People love to talk about courage and all this stuff. But did you march with King? Did you get your head bashed in? Did you take a bullet? People love to talk about, a lot of these old people love to talk about what King did wrong. And I agree that everything wasn't perfect, but what did you do? King took a bullet to the face. What did you do? Were you out there? You got a picture? Because I don't believe every Negro that tells me they march for King. You listen to every boomer Negro, they say they march. I march for King. You a lie. Show me a picture.
She called them boomer Negroes.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And even when you talk about, I'm finna get to the kicker. I'm about to get to the kicker. But before I do that, let me just say, we've all talked about this before in terms of I'm so tired of this Asian argument and how they do so much. But we have the Breaking Brown family is tired of this because the Breaking Brown family has talked about this before. But it says some people think that racism towards Asians diminished because Asians prove themselves through their actions. That is only a sliver of truth.
Listen, prove themselves. Like niggas talking about you hurting their image. Proving who you trying, what image for who? Who you trying to prove yourself to? And who you trying to prove yourself to?
And as now, the stories of successful Asians were elevated, while the stories of less successful Asians were diminished. And then it says to combat racism, minorities in the United States, including us, always tried to be the model minority. African Americans, Asians, everywhere. The model minority narrative may have started with Asian Americans, but it was quickly co-opted by white politicians who saw it as a tool to win allies in the Cold War. Discrimination was not a good look on the international stage. Embracing Asian Americans provided a powerful means for the United States to proclaim itself a racial democracy and thereby credentialed to assume the leadership of the world. Listen, and what that means is that you rose because of anti-blackness, because America as a government decided because Americans as a government decided to actually put you in the forefront. So when Dr. Claude Anderson says, well, Asians actually do apprenticeships and they come here and they only deal with their community, if you go into a lot of these Asian restaurants, they got Mexicans working in there. So that's not true. It's not true that they deal with apprenticeship. It's true that the government set a lot of them up to look like the model minority, which in and of itself is racist because it's a racist stereotype. The Asians are like this, they're just smarter. It's like
in and of itself is a stereotype. When you say things about your image and towards white people and this, that, and the third, that in and of itself, that's you being a clown. In and of itself, you acknowledging that there's racial bias right there. That in and of itself. Shame TV East Watch. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream tonight, man. Yeah, man, you right, Posh. It's this progressive. They think they progressive because they don't realize that when them people. I thought a lot of people learned the past couple years when people were putting up all these quotes and shit after the brothers who were getting killed by the police and shit, and come to find out that the quotes was from Medgar Evers or Malcolm X or somebody who lived fucking 4 decades ago and shit like that. 6 decades ago. And to show you that this whole progressive shit that you think you're living in is not, man. It's a fucking front, yo. Once you get older, you'll see. Once you get older, you'll see that the teacher who smiles at you every day really thinks you're a nigger, and she hopes you broke in her house so she can shoot you. Not that she just hopes you break in her house. She hopes you break in just so that she can shoot you or he can shoot you. That guy you hold the door open for in the morning when you go in a fucking Wawa or whatever fucking store you go in to get your coffee in the morning, will say, hey, nod his head or whatever. He really hates your guts. But I know people who work with people who wipe off the equipment that they use before they get on it, like when black people get work with them. It's just so they don't, just because they don't outwardly do it, that lulled a lot of us to sleep, man. That's where you get this progressive talk. People think we're progressive and they're so progressive. Just fucking retarded. Shame TV East Watch. Thank y'all for kicking it with me tonight, man. I fuck with Wawa too, man. Especially when they had the Kenya coffee. That shit was fucking 100% Kenya. That shit was bomb. I walked in there one day and they just didn't have it anymore. I was like, son of a bitch. But all right, guys, man, y'all take it easy and what up, Posh? You know I miss you. And I'll get back with you guys, I guess, tomorrow, and we'll have some fun tomorrow.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
We'll go back on Sinetta tomorrow. He thinks he's sliding under the radar. We will not have it. I said we will not have it. And yes, Snap, the Lakers are trash.